Okay. Oh, people can hear me now. Good. Okay, that's good. That's good. Hello, good people. I have fixed my settings. Man, I think my channel's dying. I need to do things that are not live streams. Not gonna lie. I swear, Monday is probably a worse turnout for me than Sunday. So I'm thinking, do I need to change it to like middle of the week, or Sundays just don't work so well for me anymore. Anyways, let me do a little Instagram story, then we can get on with our lives there. Okay, that's good. Live now. Hello, Cameron. Good to have in the live stream as well. Oh, so my panel's like glitching a bit. So, okay, I have 4 people. It's good. It's good. Hello, good people. Leanne, Cameron, Tusky. Good to have my regulars on board once again. Give me 1 second. Hey, I'm going to just um put the link up. I think that's good. Okay. Maybe on my till 7 figures as well. I need to do some other content other than just live stream, as I was saying, right? Because man, like the channel's dead, right? Channel's dead. I don't make revenue from it anymore. I don't get a lot of views at all anymore. It's quite dead. So I need to like then again, do I really want to start another Sharesies account just so this works? Maybe not. Maybe I need to make like pre-recorded and like pre-edited kind of like content, right? Just like a normal video and put it up where people can, get what they want in 5-10 minute videos instead of watching me for like a whole hour. Ben, good to have in the live stream as well. Thank you all for coming along. Yeah, it doesn't really matter what day since I do shift work 24/7 operational. That's true, I guess. And to be honest, I thought there'd be more people lying around not doing too much on a Monday rather than a Sunday, right? So I guess then again, the channel's very dead compared to like way back. I mean, I can't do much about that. I need to, get off my ass and like actually make some better content because I don't have Sharesies portfolio updates. I don't have anything else going on. So I just need to have those other things coming through. So, talk about the economy or talk about what's the best thing to do. Even these kind of videos, instead of doing a live stream, I should do like a video version so I can get more things. But also, it seems like the YouTube algorithm and the YouTube trends are more towards shorts now. So if I want to do well, I need to make good shorts. And that's another thing, right? I need to think about how I'm going to make shorts because I'm pretty sure I can make some shorts out of these long videos and like live streams and just get those specific points and then, edit it real quick and put it up, something like that. But yeah, I need to play around with that. But I'm just really busy, really lazy. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Cameron, you can relax now. Cameron, did you give much thought to my show idea that I showed you on Discord? Yeah, so the thing with podcasts is that I don't mind doing podcasts. I actually like doing podcasts. Like how like I did the one with Joshua Wang last time when I invited him to my house. Also, I'd like to, I don't mind inviting him to my house because you know, he's personally my friend, right? But you know, like if I were to bring in more people, I'd probably wanted to live by myself at least. But this being my parents' house, it's a bit awkward. but also I don't have that many, finance people around me, right? Josh is probably like the only one. And I got like enthusiasts, right? But you know, like those TikTok or YouTube kind of podcast kind of videos, right? Like those Gen Zs and stuff like that. Those people getting around talk about topics. I kind of want to do something like that, but that's the thing, right? I don't have like a good setup. It's just my desk. I can't really fit many people here. I don't have like a proper setup to do that. So, I can only bring maybe one or two people at most any time. So, it's kind of hard to do podcasts at this point in time. But maybe in my 30s or 40s, I might be keen on exploring more into that kind of aspect, and also hopefully I'm wiser by then, because not so wise, not financially a guru myself, and don't know if I'll ever be, but just an enthusiast. But yeah, something to think about for sure, for sure. Podcast is definitely something I really do enjoy. Like, I don't know, but the thing is, there's not much engagement if I do like virtual podcasts, right, Cameron? Like, if I bring someone on board on like a Zoom call or a Discord chat or something like that, it's not as engaging as like having the guests physically here with me, right? So that's another thing, right? It's not pleasing for the visual aspect of the podcast. Podcasts are not just listening anymore. It's a lot of the visual aspects come in as well. Ben Davis, interesting topic. Thank you. We will get into the housing one pretty soon. Cameron, no, make the content idea that I gave you. It's a hard one, man. Leanne, I don't think it's just the channel. The market's pretty meh. And that's the thing, right? People don't look at YouTube videos on what to invest stocks, what to invest in housing. Everyone's not ready for that right now. It's a huge, very, very different market from when I first started YouTube, right? I started this channel back in late 2019, and that's when and 2020 was like the big market boom, right? We had the big crash. People are like, what's going on? And they're like, looking up YouTube financial gurus and stuff like that, and looking around. Then they found these other ones. Then the market bulls bring all the audiences in, right? And in a time like now with the technical recessions and people like that, most people are too busy paying off their mortgages, paying their rents, high living costs. It's really hard for most people. So most people won't even be thinking about buying investments, let alone anything else. So crypto, stocks, property is not on most people's hands, right? It's on average, they're going to be very busy just living by, I guess. So it makes sense. It is, the market's doing pretty meh, which does kind of decrease for all these mediocre YouTubers like me. I don't get that much viewers because there's nothing much to talk about. All I'm talking about is you know why the market's bad and stuff like that. But that's not what people want to hear, right? That's another thing. People don't want to hear me saying, "Oh, it's a technical recession, high interest rates, high living cost, housing market, a lot of supply, not enough buyers, so we're gonna see house price decrease and stuff like that." Like, people don't want me to talk about these topics, but this is just a fact, and you know, this is the reality, and and people don't have to be double reminded about these kind of events, I guess. So that's definitely what's happening with the channel as well. Cameron, do financial audits. I can do financial audits, but then again, I do want to keep it more generic for these live streams, because generic ones does give a bit more insights on what's happening in the economy, in the in the housing market or the stock market, and it gives people a bit more information or insights about what's happening and what's going on in New Zealand and globally, and how we can address that. So yeah, very important. Stream was Josh. Josh is pretty busy, man. As you can see, he's not very active on his channel anymore as well. He's got quite a bit of things going on for him as well. So he's on a different stage. He's a married man now. Hopefully that's not a secret, but Yeah, yeah, he hasn't been too active in that YouTube space. So maybe in the future, I think when we're, you know, when he settled down a bit more. But yeah, that yes, that stream with Josh was pretty good. But I think having a lot more people might be more interesting, just so it keeps the conversations going. Because these live streams I do right now is mainly because between you and me, right? Like whoever asks me questions on chat, I kind of answer, but I don't have really much of an agenda myself, right? I just go along with what I want to talk about today. Like, for example, the title is it a good time to buy a house in New Zealand? We can talk about that, but it doesn't always have to be about that, right? It flows depending on what you guys ask me in chat. So always just throw me random questions about the economy and finances and what I think about this or that, and it just keeps the live stream going. And hopefully, I can ramble on for another hour or so, by like until 9 o'clock or so. Ben, off topic. I know, but do you know anything about NZ's level 5 certification for financial services? No, I do not. I am not a financial advisor. Once again, do have a disclaimer. So I'll just show that right now. This is the disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor. I did not study anything that's got to do with finance. I'm an engineer and I have an engineering degree, not a finance degree. So I don't know too much about the level 5 certification, unfortunately. Hopefully, someone else can advise on that. I'm not sure. I don't think anyone here in my audience have a financial services certification for what I know. All right, let me put a quick story for my till seven figures story. There we go. Live now. The man, I need to do something with my channel, honestly. I'm half lazy, but also I'm thinking like, what do I do? Because people just don't look at these kind of videos much when the economy's really bad, unfortunately. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Cool. So that's done. Lol, I just mentioned Josh before you said it. Fortune teller. Tell me more about my fortune, please. Ben, financial YouTubers boom and dip at the same time as the overall market. That's correct, exactly, and that's totally fine. But I think at the same time, I'm only doing live streams at like maybe once a fortnight, once a month, so it's not really good enough to maintain an audience, right? A lot of my subscribers are dead subscribers, meaning like they don't really watch my content anymore. They just subscribed a long time ago when I used to make a lot of content. And I used to make a lot of videos, a lot of live streams and stuff like that. Used to do like weekly live streams, and it was good times when the market was booming and I was making a lot of gains. But it's not fun when everything goes down and such and such. Then again, the stock market's not doing too bad, but I'm kind of iffy about it, just in general. Cameron, no, but to show like financial audit, you can hire a venue, get the assistants, see how it goes, get Joshua in for more complex audits and make it entertaining and make budgets. That's the thing, right? I don't have time for that. I don't have money for that. I don't have time for that. Yeah, there's a lot of other things I'm doing at the moment, so it's just yeah, it's nah. No, I get what you mean though. I get what you mean, but yeah, I don't know. I just can't commit that much to the YouTube channel when it's not very productive for me in terms of financially. Like, I don't make much money out of it. Sure, but then again, I don't have enough. Well, my job and everything else pays so much, I can't drop those and go into something like YouTube. Yeah, YouTube has always been like a hobby for me. I think you guys always know. It was nice to make pocket money out of this, but at the same time, it's not something I want to fully commit to. It's something I do when I have time here or there. That's the thing. I'm not a full time YouTuber, but if I was, I would definitely take on that idea, right, Cameron? Yeah, people are struggling to get by financially and don't even know if their job is on the line. Maybe it's time to buy the dip. That's the thing, though. Do how many people? No, let's word it like this: how long do you think this dip is gonna go for? That's a question, right? Like you gotta think about it, right? How long do recessions last? Generally, they last around 1 or 2 years, minimum. Generally, all right, and sometimes it lasts for 5, 10 years. Sometimes the market falls and it never comes back for a whole decade. That's what we call a lost decade, right? I mentioned that many times. But if we look at the S&P 500, right, we can see, a lot of things could happen and people just don't realize, right? Like, okay, we can have a look at this, right? So first, you can look at this S&P 500 right here. You can see that this was the 2000.com bubble. It was around, the S&P 500 was around what, 1.4, give or take. And it took another 7 years from 2000 to 2007 before the 2008 Lehman Brothers, collapsing and uh, bringing the GFC. See, it hit 1.4, 1.5 again, and it dipped again. And it took 14 years, like 13 years from 2000 just to break that all-time high, right? The resistance right here. That's 13 years it took for the stock market to just come back to its original high 13 years ago. That's the thing. People don't realize that. But then again, it is different times. We got internet, we got different ways of communicating, we got different ways of getting information. It's a lot faster now. So for that kind of reason, it's hard to say how long the dip's gonna last. But this is quite exponentially big, you know, increase here, and I just don't know how sustainable it is. We need a pretty decent correction, in my opinion, before we can move up a lot further. And also, as I mentioned before, the economy is not great in New Zealand. US, it's kind of average. It's not the best, but it is not the worst, but it's also not really that great either. So it's like, it's kind of in a weird, awkward kind of situation there. And then, the stock market normally follows through, and when it follows through, you got to think, if the economy stays bad for another year or two, the stock market's most likely going to stay bad for the next couple of years as well, because S&P hitting all-time highs like that, it's quite drastic, right? And it is very different from what we see in the economy. So I'm expecting the S&P 500 to kind of come down and match the levels we have in this economy right now, which is technically a recession. So that's the kind of things like I need to think about, right? So yeah, buying the dip, I'm not sure right now, but I think if you need a house, if you have money lying around, might not be a bad idea investing it. But at the same time, if you have money lying around, why not term deposit it, right? Because cash is very attractive right now because banks give you pretty good returns. It's nearly as much as a dividend stock. Well, it's probably as good as a dividend stock. Well, not including the ones that, are 10% plus. But the thing is, you get 6% back from your bank, but also you're guaranteed your principal value. So if you put $10,000, you get the 6% minus the tax, but also you're guaranteed to get your 10,000 back. But that's not how dividend stocks work, right? Dividend stocks, you could have bought it for $10,000, got 6% or 7%, but your dividend stock could be worth, like, I don't know, 10% less by then, something like that, right? So it's worth, like, I don't know, $9,000, right? Then it's not really worth taking the 6%. But that's why dividend stocks is always a long-term thing at compound interests, where housing and stuff like that, it's a different issue for sure. But yeah, in term deposits, a lot safer. So what people will do is they're not going to spend money. If they have any money lying around, they're not going to put it in the stock market, right? Most people would not jump in the stock market right now, especially if they don't have any stocks already. If they and most average families, they do not invest, right? Most average families, right? I'd say there's more non-investors than investors in this world, and I think that would be rather true. In that case, um, it also slows down the economic activities because no one's spending their money to keep it in the bank, and it's a ongoing cycle, right? It's the whole Ray Dalio economic machine kind of video situation all again. Just goes downhill very, very slowly or very quickly, don't know. But yeah, that's the foreseeable future, right? You can already see it. A lot of people are struggling to get by for sure. Tusky, Choiboy, I hit a financial milestone. Now I own 7 figures in assets. Let's ignore the debt. Congratulations. That's still 7 figures, I guess, in a way. Mm, for sure. It is not easy getting into the market nowadays. So having 7 figures, especially when you're not in Auckland, right? Having 7 figures in assets, I think that's quite a win. So great job there, Tusky. Cameron, oh snap, lol. What's going on? Wait. So Tusky, I might be in for you doing a financial audit on me. Definitely not in person though. I'd have to be on Zoom or Discord or something. Oh, am I gonna like audit people? My goodness. Maybe. I might think about it, right? Because if it's virtual, it's definitely a lot easier for me. I just get on Discord or Zoom, and then I live stream that, or like I pre-record it. It'll be, yeah, I don't know. Like, gotta think about it actually. YouTube Caleb Hammer. He will be up in your papers seeing how much BS purchases you make. Oh man, that's the thing though. Would I don't want to be so invasive. Jesus. Tusky, I haven't done anything with my YouTube channel for pretty much the same reason as you. There are plenty of other areas I could be focusing my attention that are way more profitable. That's right, right? When the economy's not good, I'm not going to spend my time on YouTube so much where it doesn't generate me any revenue anymore. If it did generate me a lot of revenue, if it was good enough to be a really good side hustle, I would have, spent more time here. But at the same time, it's a lack of motivation as well. I don't feel like talking too much, and talking about negative stuff all the time is not really my thing. But at the same time, I can't really talk about much because there's not many things good things to talk about in the markets nowadays, whether it's housing, the housing market, high supply, low demand, house prices go down. That's generally the trend, right? And the house prices, some people say, oh, it can't fall. I wouldn't guarantee that. That's the thing, right? Because so many people still struggle to buy a house, let alone get out of renting and then buy a house, have a stable enough job to afford a mortgage, and especially in Auckland, where we have a quarter of the whole New Zealand population living in Auckland. Freaking hell, our median house price is over $1 million still, I believe. So that's still crazy, in my opinion. So would would now be a good time to buy a house? No, I don't think so. It is cheaper. It is definitely cheaper. But at the same time, I don't think the quality is kind of there at the moment. But also, the kind of houses you see in the market is not really great for Kiwis, right? So, as a Kiwi, our history kind of lies on living in a house where we have our own plot of land, we have a house in the middle, we have a front yard and backyard, that kind of vibe, right? And that's the kind of house my parents own right now. This is the Kiwi dream, right? We have a house, we have some land, and that's how house prices increase, right? It's about the land. It's not really much about the house itself. The property value is not that much in your CV, but you got to think about it. All the houses they're building right now, they've small plot of land, like they're like 100 square, 80 square, and they build like 2 3 story townhouses and terrace houses. You know, might be okay. Like sure, I'm up for like apartments, right? Apartments really good for like dense population dense kind of areas, like I don't know, Auckland CBD or something like that, or Newmarket. Those kind of areas, that's fine. Apartments, hit me up. But in suburbs, there's not much reason to squeeze so many people and increase the supply like that. I just don't like it. Like, why not just live in an apartment rather than a terrace house? Like, I don't think terrace houses really, even apartments, to be honest, a lot of them don't really fit with the Kiwi lifestyle, right? Where are you gonna put all your outdoor gears? Like, where are you gonna put your bike? Like, a lot of the things, like a lot of them don't even have a garage nowadays, right? And even the newer ones nowadays I've seen on Trade Me, some of them do have garages. That's good. But a lot of them didn't even have garages when they started building all these terrace houses, and that's also, I was just like, what are you talking about? What is this? Like, how do you not have a garage? Like, where do people store their stuff? Like, sure, you can park your car outside, and even give them an option to at least park their car indoors, or use that indoor garage as like a separate storage space or something like that. Those kind of things, right? So there's a lot of things to be thinking about in the market nowadays. Yeah, so that's the thing, right? So Tusky, Caleb is definitely going doing a good job of raising the level of financial literacy out there. No, that's true. I think so too. Yeah, in an entertaining and dramatic kinds of way. Oh, Jordan, good to have you in the live stream too. I got my house a year ago, an old place. No, that's good. I think, you know, it's a tough time to buy a house, right? But, if you got there, you got there, right? Passing the approval stage is not easy at all. So, yeah. So, yeah, Cameron would be glad you don't have to give us Korean barbecue. Yeah, I think so too. Man, I owe these guys KBBQ for like how many years? It's crazy. Oh man. An audit over Discord would be great. It would be wonderful. It would just require some editing. Now that's 100%. I think it won't be a live stream because it'll be too fluffy, right? Like too many unnecessary bits here and there. So if I do something like that, then yeah, but that's the thing. Like, I'm not really like an advisor, right? But it will have to be more towards entertainment rather than educational, right? Like, I can't really say much about other people's spendings and stuff like that because my spending's not good. 100%. I don't have good spending habits. I am quite an overspender myself. So, am I a really good person to be judging that? But of course, I know what is right. It's just, it'll be a bit of hypocrisy from my end. But, if people enjoy it, if it's taken as entertainment, by all means, I might be able to do that. So, yeah, we might need to, have a thing, but you need a really good editor as well. That's the thing, right? Like these contents need really good editing. Like, CNBC used to do like breaking down, people living in the US, those people my age, breaking down their income, like they earn like what 200, 300K, and they like rent and expenses, like utilities, bills, whatever, all that jazz. So, man, editing is quite a bit though. Like, I don't know, my editing's not really that good, so I'm not sure. That's another thing to think about. Leanne, you don't want to FOMO. Definitely, you don't want to FOMO at the time like now because when things start falling, that's the worst thing, right? When you buy a house and the market price of that house keeps falling after you buy a mortgage, you can't even sell the house anymore because the moment you sell the house and you give it back to the bank, the house is worth less than your mortgage. Now that becomes debt for you. So you can't even exit out of the market in a downfall market, right? So you got to be really careful on buying a house and making sure you're buying a really good house. If you're buying a house right now, you don't want to buy a house that is that is prone to going down in value. And what goes down in value fast is what came up really fast. New Zealand, especially Auckland houses, came up really fast. And a lot of them don't have much land if you're looking at new builds. So that definitely doesn't look good for people who want capital gains. Apartments definitely not a good housing investment, right? Because if you're not making a lot of money to cover more than your mortgage on your investment apartment, for example, you're not going to make much out of it. Like there's a apartment in on Queen Street, Auckland, the main Auckland CBD. There's one called Vault Apartments. I believe when it was a new build, like maybe 10, 15 years ago, it was around like, I don't know, 500K. Still, it's what, 400, 500K. But that's the thing. It's not really a owner occupied kind of style. It's a kind of apartment complex where a lot of people rent. A lot of students rent there, like AUT students and UOA students, because it's very close to university, and it's pretty cheap. So those are the kind of things you got to think about, right? Apartments are not very they're not really good for capital gains. I think terrace houses are not really great for capital gains as well. And you know what the problem with terrace houses, the reason why terrace houses became such a hot topic is because first they were like a couple of years ago they're like, oh, we need more supply of houses, and then you know then they started, big landowners, people like that have a decent amount of land, like maybe like 500-600 plus, they will start subdividing their land. They'll just knock down their big house and they'll build like 2 or 3 terrace houses on a land that was only one house. And maybe that house was worth like 1.5. Now it's worth like 3 mil because each house is worth 1 mil. And this guy just made 1.5. But that's the thing, like, sure, there's like building cost, right? Building cost is really high, so you can't even sell them for cheap now. Building cost is so high, they'll probably have to sell it for I don't know, $1.2 million each. Then it'll be like, I don't know, 3.6. Then, the margins are not great nowadays, but the margins were really good maybe like 5, 6, 7 years ago, right? And it's the greed of just subdividing really nice Kiwi houses into those freaking joined up like terrace houses. I don't even like the ones that are joined up, right? Like sharing a firewall. Like I don't even like that, right? I like terrace houses if they're standalone, 100% more attractive. Standalone, a bit of land at the front, and then maybe a garage underneath, and then a bit of a backyard. That would be like the bare minimum I would take for a terrace house. Nothing like joined up, it just feels like jail almost, right? Like, not gonna lie. Hey, Tusky, good. Thank you very much for the $2. Yeah, for the $2 donation. I really appreciate it. Maybe I should just put my bank account down because YouTube takes like half of that. I don't even get paid by YouTube much anymore because you need to hit like a certain threshold of your revenue to take out that revenue, right? Man, such a pain, this YouTube thing as well. Cameron, yes, but you did miss out the other week. Jordan, most I looked like I was overpriced and needed like 100K worth of upgrades to be livable. People never seem to look after their houses. That's the thing. Most people would not look after their houses, and by the time you know it, most houses in Auckland, if they've been around for a while, it's probably like half a century, right? Like like 50 years old. Like my house was built in the 70s, I think. Yeah, and we redid the whole place, right? We renovated the entire place back in 2018, and we extended it, and and that I live in the extended part, right? So, you know, a lot of them does need renovation after like a couple of decades for sure. But nonetheless, I prefer to go into a house and renovate it, and live there rather than like those joined up terrace houses. It's a pain, those things. Cameron, $200 a week minimum to park your car in Auckland. Are you insane? No, it's not that bad. It's like $80 a week maximum. Yeah, most places you can do for less than 80 nowadays. I mean, not many people work in the office nowadays, right? So the demand for car parks in the Auckland CBD is not that great, to be honest. So yeah, most places if you want like long-term parking, you can get it for 80 a week. Even 5 years ago, it was 80 a week, and that was like the peak, right? And just after COVID, I think it was still around 80, 90 a week for one of the places around my office in Auckland CBD. So yeah, it's not that bad, right? But yeah, it's pretty bad still. Tusky, I need more real estate in Ashburton. The town has been growing since I was a kid, and it's about to ramp up even more, in my opinion. I think, yeah, the towns outside of Auckland and the main other cities like Christchurch, Wellington, you know, Hamilton, these kind of other towns nearby will start to ramp up a bit. But then again, yeah, I don't know. Maybe in Ashburton. I don't know the situation in Ashburton, so yeah, not sure. Hmm. Well, Tusky would need to be reminded that you're not a legal financial advisor. That is 100% correct. I am not a financial advisor, for sure. Leanne, I've seen some houses over 1 mil in Christchurch. It looks old and bad, but it's only expensive because of the school zone. Def not worth it. But you'd be very surprised on how much people would pay for a good house. Well, not a good house, like a good plot of land, decent house in like many different school zones overlapping over it. So that'd be the key thing, right? For a lot of families in New Zealand, that's like their, especially for immigrants, it's a bigger thing, right? For Kiwis, not so much, but like pure Kiwis, but immigrants, like even my parents, right? Like they'll always look for school zones first, especially when I was a kid, right? So they they chose this place, which is where I am right now. I lived in this house for like more than 20 years now. Like it has like couple of primary school zones over it. I live right behind the primary school. I live like close to two different intermediates, and I live close to two different colleges, right? So those are the kind of houses that people would love to buy in a time like now, right? And you'd be crazy how much would people would pay for it. It's a big thing, really. New Zealand is a very family oriented country culturally, so you can't really ignore the fact that people will spend money, and even if it's not a good house, they can always renovate it, right? If before they go, and they can buy the house, renovate it, get some new walls, or I don't know, redo the paint, so on, and plaster it a bit, give it a new paint on the roof, and clean up the garden, yabba yabba da, those kind of things, right? But school zones and locations very important, in New Zealand, especially in Auckland. You know why? Because not just because of school zones, it's because of infrastructure, right? You want to be close to shopping malls, you want to be close to the motorway or big roads, you want to be close to like bus stops and train stations and stuff like that. Those things are big things. So even like crappy houses with like decent plot of land, they can go well above 1 million, just because of the fact that they have all these other infrastructures and conveniences around them, right? It's very different when you buy a house. I think once you get to a point of buying a house, especially when you have a family with kids, you would understand like why these people want to pay so much for a house, right? Some of them don't make sense, obviously, but I'm just saying, just in general. Cameron, yes, but is it red zoned? What? I don't understand. Wait. Tusky, as an absolute stingy bastard, maybe I should be the one auditing Choiboy. If you're stingy, I don't have much to talk about you, mate. I mean, that's the thing. I'm not stingy, bro. I am not stingy. I can tell you that. Cameron, but he will build you a budget to get you out of debt and build you a emergency fund for 6 months in 2 years if you go by his budget. Yeah, I don't know who you're talking to. I don't know if you're talking to Tusky or me, but I can build budgets. I do build good budgets. I'm good at budgeting. It's just that my budgets are quite wide, right? They're a bit more lenient for my spendings, obviously. And I think budgets can, increase or decrease depending on your income status, but you know, you just got to think about it. You got to think about that 100%. Tusky. I have an emergency fund. It really isn't big enough though. That's the thing. I think if you have a decent job, emergency funds are not. It doesn't have to be massive, but they say it's around 3 months worth of income. I guess that normally covers for around um, half a year to maybe even a year worth of living costs. But if you have a house, if you have a mortgage, definitely not going to cover everything. You need at least 6 months if you have a house, I think, for in your emergency fund. But that being said, dual income, it definitely would help with the emergency funds, right? That's the thing. I don't know about people nowadays, but combining finances was quite common back in the days, I guess, for my parents' generation. But nowadays, I'm not sure, right? So I don't know how people do it. Some people don't combine finances, and I think the tighter your budgets and the lower your incomes, you should definitely combine your assets. Even if you're rich, I think you should combine your finances with your partner because you can achieve a lot more instead of like sure there could be like joint accounts and spending accounts like individual accounts, but that's another thing. Sometimes the partners I've seen, in some cases partners have their own emergency funds. I think you should have a joint emergency fund, and you should just take a bit out of the bank account into your individuals for day-to-day spendings of your own individual stuff, and keep everything else in one thing, because there's a lot of benefits to doing that, right? Of course, with the mortgage and credit, revolving credits, and all the home loans, negative loans, and like just paying down the mortgage faster. Combining assets and bank accounts is definitely quite beneficial. I don't know what people do nowadays though. Cameron, I have $16 accessible to my name at the moment. I had just had dinner, $23 and $9 drinks for the night. I have to wait until Wednesday to get paid before I have money to spend. And that's the reality, right? Most people need to live paycheck to paycheck, and that's fair enough. And that's it's just the reality of life, I guess, at this point in time. New Zealand's not a great place to be living at this point in time, for what I can see. Tusky, you didn't read the super chat. God, that. Oh, I need to read the super chat. Choiboy is a perma bear. Buy assets in a recession. Oh, I can't believe I missed it. Buy assets. Do you know what a fun fact is? I'm not buying assets. I sold most of my assets, unfortunately. So what I've done is obviously my Sharesies portfolio and my public one, the one that I've been showing on my YouTube channel here, that's gone. I don't have that anymore. Same thing. I sold most of my growth stocks everywhere in my private even. I only have dividend stocks. I have a bit of cash, term deposits. I have a lot of crypto, and that's about it. Yeah, I'm definitely very I'm definitely I wouldn't I don't know if I would call crypto an asset at this point in time. It's quite volatile, but you know, it's the only asset class, well, it's the only investment class I'm really interested in the next 1 or 2 years. Other than that, I'm not very interested in stocks or anything like that. If I want to keep cash, I'll keep it in term deposits. I think that's about it. There's nothing better than term deposits at this point in time, unless you have a really good dividend stock that is not falling too much in terms of market value. But that's the thing, the market hasn't fell in terms of the stock market, so it's kind of early to tell if the stock market's on downfall or an uptrend. We don't know yet, but I think it's all going to go downwards, and that's exactly why I'm not putting more money into I'm not spending too much money in my dividend stocks, at least. Jordan, forget that. Reminds me of UK house next to house attached slim back garden. That's the thing, right? It's so bad, right? I really don't like the houses they're building nowadays. Like they need to make houses that are not stuck together, has a garage. You know, they could look the same, but give it some space. Like give it some space we can walk around to our backyard to for and front yard, and vice versa. Give it some space. That's the kind of house I would want, right? But who knows? Tusky, I know Ashburton will expand further because I know majority of new factories in my industry is going to be built here in the next 2 to 5 years. If you have that kind of information, for sure, it might be a thing. Yeah, for sure. Cameron, based off that information, I cannot pinpoint your house geographically. Leanne can redirect air traffic over your place because why not? Please. I think I mentioned this once. I live in East Auckland. That's all I'm going to tell you. Because Auckland's massive. Even East Auckland geographically is quite big. So, it's not easy to pinpoint. But yes, if you live in East Auckland, and if you have been living in East Auckland for quite some time, you most likely would have seen me here or there because I used to take the bus a lot when I was a student. I used to walk to school. I drive there, and you guys know what my car looks like. I guess the new people don't, but it's not hard to pinpoint me. But at the same time, it might be. I don't know. I don't really leave my house that often nowadays. Back compared to back like a couple of years ago, I used to go out every day. Now I prefer to stay home most days if I'm not meeting my girlfriend or something like that. So yeah, I don't know. Tusky, that's probably all I can say for legal reasons. I think you said enough, Tusky. Leanne, in my opinion, I'd rather spend less money in a better, bigger house and use the extra money to send my kids to private schools if I will ever have kids. Yeah, I guess personal preference. I guess I would. My first moral, my kind of motto is if I want to spend more, I need to earn more. It's not I want to save more. It's quite different from most people, right? Most people, when they say, "Oh, I want to spend more money. I want to buy a better car. I want to buy a better house. How do I save more to buy this?" That's most people's kind of functioning way of thinking, right? But I think the opposite. I'm like, if I want to spend more, how do I earn that much more? And that's the kind of mindset I have taken on, and that's what drives me to earn more in my current job and in my career, right? Because if I want to spend more to buy a better house and better car, nowadays it's like eventually to buy a house, get married soon, maybe in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, those kind of things, then I need money, right? And that's the kind of main driver. So if I'm going to spend a lot of money in the next couple of years, then I need to earn more, not save more. Of course, saving more is part of the equation, but the bigger part of the equation for me is how do I earn more, right? So yeah, if I want a better house, but also send my kids to private school, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try going, okay, how do I make more money so I can buy a big good house but also send my kids to private school, even though I personally wouldn't. I really don't see much difference between public and private. Like I went to a public school. I've seen way too many, I don't know, spoiled private school students in my past. Maybe that kind of put me off on sending my kids to private schools in the future. I guess that really depends on the friends you have as well. But I'd send them to a good public school, probably not a private school, unless I'm really rich. And I really don't care if it's a really good school and it's private. Then by all means, might be something. But yeah, that's the mindset, right? If I want to spend more, how do I earn more? I think that's what a lot of people should take away. Not just thinking about how much I can save, but how can I increase my income, through my main job, through a side hustle, and that's what the Gen Zs are really good at nowadays, right? They're really good at expanding their incomes and having a lot of different streams of income, and it's not something that a lot of old school people have. Like I was kind of old school myself in that kind of aspect. I was more like I need to make a lot of money only in my main job, but now it's kind of like a bit of both. Like I want to earn a lot in my main job, but how do I do things on the side, like investments or crypto, or like, I don't know, back then it was my YouTube channel. Like, how do I do this so I can, make more money? So yeah, 100%. What is the squeaky noise? That was my sister using the toilet while using the bathroom, because I have one bathroom in my room. Sorry about that. Cameron, his house is haunted. Hmm. Whose? Tusky, I have 2.5 houses now. Congratulations. I have none. That's a lot better than I'm doing, Tusky. I don't know how much older you are than me, but I'm pretty sure you're doing pretty good for your age as well, to be honest. Because most New Zealanders do not have 2.5 houses. Not even one, to be honest. Especially in our generation, if you're in your 20s or 30s, and if you can afford even one decent house, I mean, I think that's pretty. You're above average at that point. Cameron, wait, what? Where did the other 1.5 house come from? Family home, rental property, 50% ownership in another house. Ah, makes sense. Congratulations. Leanne, I've applied to another job, extra job. Let's hope I didn't do as many shift work as now. I hope all the best for that. Don't forget about OF. Oh my goodness, Cameron. Please. My goodness. Tusky, in the next few years, I'll probably subdivide my home and build another rental on the other section. I think that's fine, right? If you are kind of subdividing, and if you're leaving your house and just building like another house in a plot of land, in the same plot of land, maybe in the backyard is too big and you're gonna knock down some trees and flowers and build another house there for your rental income, it's actually not a bad idea. 100%. Hmm. That's what I want my parents to do, right? Because they both retired now, so they don't have sources of income other than superannuation. And that's the thing. It's like, do I really want them relying on superannuation so much? Probably not. So with this house, I want them to do something like go to a house that has a smaller house, because once me and my sister move out, we don't need a big house. Well, not for my parents at least. And then they can start looking for houses that has like a main house, or maybe 2 3 bedrooms, and like a granny flat, or like one of those or like a 2 floor property where the bottom is like kind of like some completely separate from the main building, so on, so on. Something that could bring in, long-term rental income or something like that is something I've been thinking about. But it's definitely good to think about those things earlier in your life than later. It's definitely a lot harder because they don't really want to do much now, right? And it's all on me if I want to change them and how they use their assets to live decently throughout the rest of their retirement times. There's a lot of things to think about there. But then again, I mean, they're very low maintenance. They don't spend much. So, yeah. I don't know. Not worried, but they could do better, I think. Cameron, wait, what? Girlfriend? Leanne is now heartbroken. What? What? Did I not say I had a girlfriend? I thought I did. I mean, okay, I've been going out with my girlfriend for the past nearly 1 year now. Nearly. It's like maybe a month and a bit off. Yeah, so it's like 11 months in now. So, yeah. And that's probably one of the reasons why I've been more busy as well, because, don't have time. Like, I have a lot of things going on myself. I have a job, I have some other stuff, I have hobbies. I have a lot of hobbies, right? And also other things like looking into investments, stuff like that. But also I need to meet my girlfriend. There's a lot of time consuming here and there, and that's one of the reasons why I can't commit even more to the YouTube channel. And that's the thing, like, should I just close down this channel and move fully onto my vlog channel and do more fun YouTube videos? Because these kind of videos, it's fun to talk about, but without proper like equipment and where I can bring people and do podcasts or interviews, it's not as fun as I wanted it to be. But you know and the market's not great, but the channel will stay. But It's just the frequency of how I upload or how often I do the live streams will differ. Tusky doubt. What do you mean doubt? Leanne, another reason why we need to have KBBQ. Tusky, I'm 33. You're actually doing really good for your age. Not gonna lie, I've seen a lot of 33, well, around 30, 35, between that age group. Still not have a house, like I'm not shitting on them, but that's the reality of the average New Zealander. So if you have 2.5, even if you're not in Auckland, right? All the people I know that are in that kind of category, they don't have a house because it's too expensive. Also, they live in Auckland. It's a lot harder to buy a house here, a decent one at least. Or some of them just refuse to buy these new builds, which are like stupid terrace houses. So they're trying to find ways to make more money or move to contracting or self-employment and get out of their permanent salary jobs, and so on, so on. So yeah. Leanne, what is OF? Don't go in there, Leanne, please. It is anything fans you didn't want to look at. Oh gosh, don't Google that, Leanne. Yes, don't Google it. You might find it's a word. Oh gosh, please. It's adult material. Yes, OF is. Yeah, I won't say anything. I don't want to get banned. Dusky, putting it in a YouTube safe way. Oh gosh, Tusky. That's why Choiboy sold his portfolio. If girlfriends are expensive, ah, yeah, I'd spend more than what I normally would, but it's not that bad to be honest. Ah, I can finally talk about the freaking page I had open for the past how long? Yeah, and I've been rambling on for so long. It's already 9 o'clock. So okay, so you can see. Okay, let's look at One News, and it came out last week Friday, right? The housing market is reporting a bumper crop of offerings for the first time in almost a decade, and prices are still low. Here's what moved real estate this week. The national average asking price was under 887k, up 27k from March last year. So it's apparently going up. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna go up much more, to be fair. Yeah, I don't know. So, CoreLogic House Price Index rose 0.5% in March, similarly to January and February, muted gains, taking values 1.1% up over the first quarter of 2024. The housing market can probably be described as not too hot, not too cold. So they're saying it's pretty average. I think with the amount of supply we have and not the right type of supply, it's not going to be that great. But also, I did see National's new 36 action plan about making supplies cheaper and easier to export or something like that, import, whatever, so making material costs cheaper. We'll see how that works, right? Because I haven't read into it too much, but I'm not really that interested in the housing market at this point in time. Everyone knows it's too expensive, and let alone the property price. The interest rates are just nuts. Just like those banks are trying to trap you in, right? That's what I think, right? They do small decreases in interest rates every now and then, and you see them on the news be like, oh, it's cheaper, but is it really that much cheaper? I don't think so. Dropping it from 7% to 6.8 is not a huge deal. It's not. It's not a huge decrease. So, you know, it's still 7.24 for the majority of the big banks, right? And even if you look at all lenders, if you go with the cheap option, Heartland Bank, you go 6.69%. Oh, sorry, 6.69%, and your floating's 8. Oh, why do I have hiccups now? Gosh, yeah, but most other banks would have floatings of like more than 8, like 8.5. That's crazy. That is crazy. That is just nuts. because most people would structure their mortgage be like half floating, half, a quarter, 1 year, a quarter, 3 years, or 5 years. I don't know. Like they would do it based on their own financial needs and wants, right? By all means, but you know that's the thing. Like interest rates are too high. It doesn't matter. The property price, staying about the same, but the interest rates is too high. It's just it does not give people the reason to buy a house so in a rush. And especially with the increased supply, I really don't know if it's going to go up even much more. And the Reserve Bank also said they're not going to touch the OCR for quite some time. That's what they said, right? So we don't know what's going to happen. So there's going to be a lot of things to think about. RBNZ has hinted that lower interest rates are on the horizon, but lower short-term fixed mortgage rates are not expected to drop much for another 6 to 9 months. That's it. That's the thing. For the next year, so for the whole of 2024, interest rates are not going to change too much. When the interest rate is held at this high point for a long time with these high property prices, I think it's still pretty high. Um, House prices definitely would have to come down. That's my only thinking. And if they make it cheaper to build houses, house prices will also come down again, and it will go to a point where it will be decent enough for first home buyers to buy any house they want for their financial status, without stretching too much. And there's going to be a lot of things to think about. Yeah, so this is the whole different change they made, right? Like action plan 36 goals to achieve by June 2024 or something like that. So they're doing some things, legislations to improve rental market, you know, housing growth plan, ease restrictions on building materials from overseas and public consultation, and making it easier to, get supplies from things that are already standardized and being used a lot in Australia, which we have very similar, a lot of similarities in terms of building um, standards, those kind of things, right? So, yeah, Kainga Ora, you know, there's a lot of things going on in terms of the things here. And why am I getting weird ads? Anyways, yeah. So that's the thing with housing, right? I don't think it's gonna get any better anytime soon, and I expect it to fall another 10, 15, maybe even 20%, to be honest. Because if they do make it cheaper, if they successfully do that, good houses will stay expensive, but all the mediocre and decent, first home buyer kind of houses, they will drop in price, and it'll be easier to buy. I think in the next 2 years, it'll be easier to buy a house that has a decent plot of land than what I can buy right now. I think that's my reason to stay out of the housing market at this point in time. Cameron, that explains it. Yeah, I guess so. Tusky, to be fair, 2.5 South Island houses is probably worth one Auckland house. Yes, that is true, but that's the thing. How many couples in their 30s with a kid owns a $1 million house in Auckland? Not that much. You think about it, a lot of them would be renting, to be honest, or like in a house that is worth like 600K, right? Those 2 bedroom like small terrace houses. Those are what most New Zealanders would be able to afford with the New Zealand average household income, right? Because it's on the internet, right? It's not that big. It was like average household income's like 120K, 130K. That's not a lot. That is not a lot. So you can't buy much with that kind of money. You can only buy something like 700K plus, maybe like 700K, maybe if you stretch it, maybe 750, 800K, but you can't buy anything more than that. So you can't even buy a house with a decent amount of land. And that's the thing. I don't know what the effects of these new terrace houses would be in the future, right? So would it appreciate like a normal house, like this kind of house with like 600 land and a good house on top, or would it appreciate or not appreciate at all, like an apartment, like vault apartments, right? So there's a lot of things to think about in that kind of aspects. Cameron, I hope she's a nice Korean girl. She is a nice Korean girl. Thanks for asking, Cameron. I appreciate your interest. Leanne, nowadays everything is so fast paced, and even I find there's less time to do other things. That's true. It's everything's very fast paced now. Yeah, New Zealand is not so chill anymore like the old days. Cameron, no, you won't be talking about any page you have opened. No, 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 we aren't listening. Okay, we are. Cameron, it's probably 4 Auckland houses in physical land space and size. Yes. The amount of space you can get with the amount of land you can buy with $1 million, not that great when there's a house on top. You maybe $1 million house, you're maybe looking at like it really depends on the location as well, right? If you're looking at places like Flatbush maybe, which is a bit of a newer area in terms of East Auckland, you're looking at like, I don't know, you're looking at 150 square meters for like $1.5 million house, $1.8 million house, something like that, right? It's crazy. You don't get much land, but you get a really nice house. But that's the thing, like, I don't know. And it also has really good school zones as well. That's probably one of the reasons. Hmm. Tusky, my family home is on half an acre of land, so yeah, the half share have is on a quarter acre. See these South Island people, man, with these half acre land. Jeez, my goodness, Leanne, I'm still waiting for national tax relief. I really don't think it's happening, Leanne. Tax relief. They're gonna do things that would help the rich. Um, yeah, you know what nationals should do though? They should increase tax brackets, right? But because they're too busy covering the hole in their financial status at the moment, the government, because they spent so much money in the past couple of years, you know, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be pretty hard, and I don't think they're gonna increase the tax brackets because that's tax relief, right? Because you pay less tax because the tax brackets are like higher, so you pay less tax. Like the first bracket, well, the first bracket would be like, 25K instead of 17K or something like that, right? So yeah, that's what they should be doing, but it's not coming anytime soon. I mean, our income's increased a lot, but how is our tax brackets exactly the same for the past decade or so? It's crazy. I don't even know when the last time they revised the tax brackets. Hmm, it's coming. Well, we'll see. Cameron, I might get a lump sum compensation from ACC because of my ankle, just waiting for paperwork in the mail. I hope that works out. Tusky, well, once again, I've stayed up too late. Night all. See ya, Tusky. Good to have you on the live stream. Hope you enjoy your week. Cameron, the building standards and electrical standards are the same organization between here and NZ and Australia, which helps our transient population between NZ and Australia helps. If that's the case, and if that's the case, then I mean, yeah, by all means, it makes sense, right? If Australia is using a whole bunch of supplies and stuff like that, why do we need to go through another set of procedures to kind of validate them and verify them again? It's crazy, right? So hopefully national kind of gets rid of those inefficiencies. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, that extra $40 fortnightly doesn't sound much, but it does add up. No, that's the thing. It does add up. It is one or two dinners, right? So you get one or two more dinners for people who need the money, and for people who don't need the money, you get to save $40 an hour, and you put that in a high interest term deposit. You're making something other than nothing, so it does add up. Tusky, Choiboy is still a perma bear. Buy assets. Okay, Choiboy, I can't let that stand. That tax relief national is offering adjusting. The tax relief national is offering is adjusting the tax brackets. Well, we'll see. I'd like to see myself because that would be a really good tax relief. And I haven't been following the government news and stuff like that, like what they're promising. So I'm not really sure, but yeah, We'll have to see what they're gonna do, but yeah, I wish they keep the interest rates up for a wee while because I think we still got a lot of inflation to fight for, and we nearly went into a hyperinflation to be honest because of all that spending we did with the lockdowns. So yeah, then it's gonna take a while before they can do anything. Let's hope for the best, guys. Anyways, 9:15. I am going to pretty much call it soon. Cameron, no, you've been following your GF and her tax brackets. She has no tax bracket, unfortunately. uh, gosh, I will not go into that. Oh, she does have tax bracket, but yeah, she's still a student. Well, nearly graduated. So yeah. Leanne, $40 is enough to pay for 3 weeks of petrol for me. 3 weeks! My goodness. That's crazy. You know, another thing with Auckland is everything's so like far away from each other. I live in East Auckland, but all my things are in the city, North Auckland, North Shore, or West Auckland. It's crazy how much I drive. I drive like a lot. I pay around 140 every 2 weeks for fuel. It's crazy. That's a lot of money. No, not even that. Not even 2 weeks. Maybe a week and a half. I don't know. Sometimes I drive enough to spend one tank, which is 140 $140 per tank. I use a tank in a week sometimes. So yeah, it really depends on how often I drive out to those hobbies I do, like badminton and stuff like that. So yeah, not sure. Tusky, go to sleep. I know you have an early start. Leanne, 95 too. I use 98, unfortunately. Yeah, shouldn't have tuned my car. Oh well. Cameron, $40 is enough for me, enough to pay for my dinner for that night. Use 91. Is your car tuned for 95? She drives a Cooper for what I remember. So yeah, there would be minimum 95s. Yeah, my car is minimum 95, but it's been tuned to 98. So I can't, yeah, I can't use anything lower. But then again, the price between 95 and 98 is pretty much the same. I use Gull 98, which is cheaper than the Z 95 or the Mobile 95s or something like that, right? So, or BP 95s, I don't know. So, it's still cheaper, to be honest. I mean, yeah, Gull for the win, not advertisement, anyways. Oh, wait, do you not drive a Mini? Oh, I thought you drove a Mini. Damn. No, hybrid Swift. Oh, no wonder you only use $40 per 3 weeks. That's crazy. I was gonna say that's not a mini. What mini only fills up $40 per 3 weeks? Ah, you traded it. No, good car. Hybrid's a really nice car. To be honest, nowadays I'm really interested in buying like a nice Lexus. Like I think when I'm in my 30s, I'll definitely look into the Lexuses, right? Cuz yeah. Where yeah. Nice cars actually, not gonna lie. Lexus. Like this is the kind of car I would want to buy. Uh yeah. Yeah, something like that. Just nice hybrid car. Runs for a long time. Lexus and Toyotas are known for very good ranges. They last like 300k miles, which is like nearly 500k kilometers. Yeah, Lexus is a beast, and maybe I'm becoming a slowly becoming an Asian old, a middle-aged Asian men or something like that. Like this is like the typical Asian parent kind of car, right? Lexus is, and I'm like opening up to those SUVs now. So maybe I am getting old. Nissan Leaf. I would not buy a Nissan Leaf. Those looks horrendous. Also, I don't like Nissan cars, to be honest. I want a nice Mazda XL Hybrid Sport 20. Yeah, Mazda XL is a nice car too. Hope you guys all enjoy your hybrid cars either way. Alright, I am done, guys. It is late on a Monday. Time to chillax, go back to work tomorrow. Yep, that is the life, guys. Anyways, Pyonghua Motors don't make hybrids yet. I don't even know, bro. Don't even ask. I haven't even heard about. I haven't seen any cars from that motors before. Oh gosh. Thank you for your humor. Uh, anyways, thanks all for joining today. If you liked today's video, give it a thumbs up. Didn't have that many people, obviously. I need to think about what I'm gonna do with this channel. It's most likely gonna die out slowly, right? As I mentioned, I don't have much time to spend on this channel, but you know, maybe I'll revive it in the future. I don't know. We'll see about it. I need to think about what kind of contents I want to talk about. Also, yeah, making those pre-edited content like videos on YouTube might be more worthwhile on bringing on more audiences for the live chats. It'll just make things a bit more interesting. Leanne, I can't believe it's only Monday. I've been working all weekend. Feels like Wednesday. Ay, ay, ay. Problems of shifts, right? Shift work. Hope you get a break soon. DPRK car brand. Yeah, I know, Cameron. I just haven't looked into it properly, but yeah. Keep it, don't delete it. Revive it when the market is up. I won't delete it. I won't delete the channel. I will keep it. But I'm just going to think about what kind of content I'm going to be talking about, because I'm not getting that much live viewers, right? And my live streams are always based off you regulars, and I really appreciate that. But at the same time, I need more motivation to keep the channel going, and if that's the case, I need to do things that would bring in more audience, right? Because this stream is for people. If people don't watch it, I don't need to do this. I'd rather spend more time building content on my vlog channel, right? And that's the thing, like that actually, you know, stays as like my own diary, right? My digital diary, where I can post my travels and post my talks and, you know, things going on in my life, which I can look back to. But I wouldn't look back to these kind of videos, in my opinion, right? For personally speaking. So the only reason I make these videos was, when I started this channel, was only to help people who want to talk about these finance stuff, you know, because it's not something we openly talk about in New Zealand. So, you know, bringing up that community, and it was working for quite some time, but just died out in the last couple of years, like last 2 years, when I started slowing down with the content. So yeah, I'll be here if I'm free, of course. I know that, Leanne. Thank you. Cameron, we are your regulars. We're your loyal. We are your family. Thank you very much, Cameron. I appreciate that. Not at a Korean barbecue restaurant. Maybe, maybe. We'll see about it, Cameron. Thank you very much for coming along today. But yeah, I will catch you next time, guys. Thanks for joining. Everyone had cash with not working and being able to spend it. Yeah. You should ask your colleagues to join. Nah, I don't think they'll join. But we'll see. We'll see. I'll think of something. If I have good content ideas, I'll execute it whenever I get the motivation, and I'll see if I can do that. Cool. Thanks, guys. I'll catch you around. Bye.